I'm going to go live here on Amazon as soon as my stream data gets there. Okay. All right, we are live as live can be. And what we're going to do is take a look at the CZUR Aura. And this is a book scanner. I haven't even taken it out of the box yet, so we're going to kind of do a step-by-step here. I've got some books to scan with it, and it's designed for books and documents. Get my camera situated here properly. And yeah, we're going to unbox it and see what it's all about. So give me a second to get combobulated here, and I'll give you another angle of it as I get everything set up. So yeah, this is the CZUR Aura, which is their lower cost version. I guess this is the Pro model. So I'm not sure which one. I think this aligns with the one that's on Amazon. Let me take a look and make sure that I've got the right one here. And I'm also going to get my, because this one is called the Aura B on Amazon. And on this one, let me get my other thing going here too. So yeah, we're going to unbox this thing and set it up. I've got about 90 minutes before I have to fetch dinner for hungry children and a dog. So that's our deadline here, everybody. But yeah, I got some books to scan, so we're gonna give it a shot. So what you get in here is the Smart Scanner. You get a foot pedal. Oh, that's kind of cool. Finger cots. So back in my old job, we used to sell finger cots. Pretty cool stuff. All right, so we got some people popping in already. I'm a little bit later than usual, but William is here and Nigel is here from Heathrow, and Jason is from Norwich in the UK, and I live close to Norwich, Connecticut. How about that? So a lot of the towns where I live were named after cities in England or the United Kingdom. In fact, we have New London, not the old London, but the New London. So lots of things in common there. All right, so let's take a look at what is in the box. And there's a lot to this. So let me give you the overhead. So we first have, now apparently this will work with the Mac, but if you have the latest version of Mac OS, which is Monterey, then it doesn't work with the Mac. And they include a CD. I'm guessing those are drivers, but we're gonna download these from their website. So yeah, it looks like the Aura Pro is the one that we're looking at today, which I think is the same one that's on Amazon right now. So we're going to go download that software while we are doing this here. And Jason said, didn't know that there was a Norwich. Yeah, there's a Norwich, right, not too far away. And Keith Robinson, thank you for the super chat. Yeah, I'm glad you like me doing this stuff. I enjoy it too. So these are a lot of fun. And what's great is that we can kind of explore these things together and see what they're all about. Now this happens to be right now on sale on Amazon for $245. So if you click the link, and I kid you not, the last 2 days, this is a foot pedal, the last 2 days when I have gone live, the item has been on sale. So last time it was the little mini PC, that review will be up tonight. And so I guess this must be like to scan with. So that mini PC review will be up tonight. And then this one I'll get done in a couple of days here. So once we figure out how this thing works. So we got to put our power adapter in. Now I first saw this in person at IFA in Berlin, Germany. So I was there for that IFA show right before everything got crazy. And this was being demoed, and I was like, wow, this is really cool, because it looked like it was pretty good at the whole AI component, right? Like it was getting the pages properly aligned. It had a very fast OCR engine. I was like, I got to get one of these things in. And we had exchanged information, but I never got word from them. So here is the scanner itself, and this is the Aura. And you can see how this works. I'll set it up on the desk in a minute. So what's neat here, it's so big it's hard for me to show you everything. So here, I'll give you my, so it sits like this. So your document is below, and then it's got all these lights and a camera. I'll give you the overhead here so you can get a better view of it. It has all these lights and a camera on it to illuminate the page. And it looks like multicolor lights here too, so they must try to get to a certain color temperature. It looks like we got some sensors here also to kind of read the exposure. It feels nice. This is all metal. It actually doesn't feel cheap. And I'm pretty sure this is the same one that is for sale on Amazon. This is the Aura. So we'll put that down here for a second. Now there's another thing. Oh, so this is like your mat that you put down on the table. And it's rolled up super tight. So let's get this unrolled here, and we'll see how this works. And Jason says that Norwich is pronounced Norwich in England. Yeah, we pronounce it Norwich here. But then we've got like a city in Massachusetts that's spelled Worcester, but we call it Worcester. It's all these weird pronunciations that we have. So Keith says, where was this device when I was in college? You're telling me. You know, when I was in college, we had to go down to, this wasn't that long ago. Well, maybe it is now. It was like 20-something years ago. But you used to have to go down to the library, right? You had to find the book that you were looking for. And then you had to put it in the copy machine and kind of hold it down and keep turning the pages. And then we had these microfilm machines, and those darn things were broken constantly. And I don't think people realize like how much better it is now with a smartphone camera, because you can scan a document anywhere. And so to some degree you might be saying, well, what's the point of this thing? And I think what the point of this one is rapid book scanning, so that you can turn the pages and the software will OCR the page, and you'll get a good scan. So this is not for everybody. I think there are, people are not scanning a whole book, for example. But if you're archiving books and you don't have a huge budget, we'll see how it works. This might be a good way to do that. And the problem with this mat is that it is rolled up so tight, I don't know how we're going to get it flat. Like, look at it. It's like super. So we'll keep messing. We'll look at the instructions perhaps. Now there's also this thing, and I don't know where this thing goes unless it feeds into. We'll figure it out. Yeah, we'll get there. We'll read the instructions maybe. Chip says the secret sauce has got to be in the software. Yeah, it is proprietary software. I'm going to grab that software real quick, so we'll take a look at it. And I will show you on screen. And I have a link in the video description to YouTube, to Amazon. And I'm not trying to be like the Home Shopping Club here, but it appears as though this is on sale right this minute, which is unusual. This is actually the second time this has happened where I've had something that I've been waiting to work on, and suddenly it's like on sale is the deal of the day. So this is $245 marked down from $289. But maybe you reserve judgment until we try it out. So they've got 40% of the deal left. I guess they designated a certain amount of things here. Now this is, okay, so these are the finger things. So what I guess these little yellow things do, these are the finger cots, I'm guessing. They have like little rubber grips on them so that you can hold the page down. So when you have the book down on the table, I'm guessing it looks for this symbol to kind of block it out. And there's some instructions on the back here. So these are called finger cots for book scanning. I'll give you the overhead on what this looks like. And it says here, please wear finger cots when you select facing pages processing method. Oh, I see. So you gotta keep your, I see. So it'll eliminate, so it looks for this little barcode, and then it'll know what to exclude in the image. That's probably what that means. And I was expecting something a little different when they said finger cots, because I used to sell finger cots at my old job, and they didn't look like that. Look up finger cots on the internet, and you will see what I'm talking about there. All right, so we got our USB cable. All right, so let us continue onward here. Okay, so now we have the arm, we have the book, and I think we'll read the book to figure out how to do this. Okay, so this is the side light, and this mounts itself like halfway down the thing here. So apparently the side lights connect, oh, I see, it has like a little magnetic connection. And so this is like an optional thing, I guess, if you need it. So these are additional lights, these LED lights in here. And this mounts to the back. I gotta say, this feels really well constructed. It doesn't feel cheap at all. This is all metal. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can get a better view of it, because it is rather tall. And I apologize for the mess, but this is my life right now. All right, so let's peel this stuff off here. All right, so next step is we got to go download some software here and see how this thing works. So, and I've got the use. This is one of those times where I think you kind of need the user manual. So let us go and investigate the CZUR website, and we're going to download the software. This is a Chinese company. Like I said, I met these folks a couple of years ago at IFA in Germany. And I'm going to select my Aura, which is the model that we are looking at here today. And I am going to run this on Windows because at the moment this doesn't support Mac Monterey, which is what I'm running on all my Mac computers. But they do have a beta right now for the Mac, so I might play around with that. But I think to make sure this works, let's just go with Windows to start, and then we'll kind of take it from there. Now we've got a foot pedal. This might be useful for other things too, actually. So I'm guessing what you do is you have the foot pedal to initiate a scan, right? Like a little Pac-Man. Oops. So then you can keep your fingers in the finger cots here and turn the pages. Because apparently it can rapidly scan. The software, I'll pull up the screen here so you can see it. The software is about 500 megabytes, so it's half a gigabyte. And I'm downloading the software right now. So as soon as that arrives, we will take a look and see how this works. All right, and I'll pull up a few more questions while we wait here. Mark Smith wants to know how much desk room is required. I think quite a bit, because what they want you to do is put down this thing. So it may actually be more desk space than I have readily available. We'll see. What I'm a little uneasy about here is the fact that this thing came so tightly rolled up that there's not a lot of room here. All right, so we've got some people popping in here. Recipe Bob is here. And Keith makes a very good point. You could probably flatten this with the books that we're going to scan. I bet you that's probably very true. Let's take one of these books, and I got my old high school yearbook too, so we'll take a look at that and see how that goes. And I got to make some room here on the desk. I think that's part of the problem. Raphael says this device would be good for people. Yeah, because actually what you can do is you could scan in a book with small text, and then, right, absolutely. All right, so let's figure out how this thing works. I'm guessing there's probably some USB connection that we have to make. Again, I could read the manual, but who needs that, right? So there are, I'll give you the overhead here. There are ports here. So we have, oh, I see. So the foot pedal connects to here. So it's a USB thing, but it goes into this and not into your computer. It must be like a little USB hub in here. This goes out to the computer. And then you've got your power connector. So Let me install the software real quick and see how this works. But yeah, it looks pretty cool. But it folds up. It folds up pretty nicely. And it looks like it's fixed to this height. So when you're not using it, you can fold it up. And then when you are using it, and it looks like it's got a little screen on the top of it here. Like I said, this is on sale right now at Amazon. So if you were looking for a book scanner, today's your day. And it's like $40 off right now. That's a pretty good deal, right? So let's move this over here. Yeah, so it's not bad. I got the edge of my computer kind of down on it, and I think over time this will flatten out, but it's like super tight. Let me get my camera a little more stable here. Hang on a second. My camera's kind of at an angle, so it sometimes gets a little out of whack. And I've got my old high school yearbook, so I figured I would scan that, because that might be kind of a fun little mixture of things. And I'm going to apply power to this, and I'm going to install the software. And let's see here. So yeah, back forward says it better scan well for the size. Let's hope so. No Bluetooth on this. It is USB. And I don't know the formats it supports. I'm pretty sure it can support that. Obviously, it'll do PDFs. But we will see when we get a little further along into the process here. So let's get the cable plugged in. There we go. So now it is powering up. There's like a little button here. I guess this is like a knob for the... This is going to be hard to demonstrate because there's a knob over here that apparently will turn it brighter or not. And I'm guessing I've got to get the computer connected. So I'm going to get the foot pedal attached, which goes in here. I'm actually kind of excited to have something with a foot pedal. It's got a pretty long cable to it, so I can fit that under my desk. So we're good there. Hear that? So that's the foot pedal. All right, we're making progress. Okay, so the next step is the USB cable, which I have, of course, misplaced already. So let's find that. Here it is. And this looks like a USB 2 connection, but I don't think you need anything all that fast, right? And we have this plugged into my Surface Laptop Go at the moment. So we will connect this through and see how this works. So we'll plug that in there. And then we'll plug this into the back and see what happens. Actually, you know what I'm going to do first? I'm going to install the software because I'm sure there's probably some driver that it needs. And yeah, back-forward punch, I think there's definitely some concern from book publishers. Obviously, there's a fair use argument here, especially if you're using this for your own personal use, right? You own the book. You have a right to make a copy that you can use for your own purposes. You want to convert something to an ebook. I think the labor, though, involved with scanning, even though I think this is going to be a very quick way of scanning a book, you're still going to have to kind of hold it out here. This is the workflow, right? So we're going to have to hold the book out, and then what they're going to have us do is use these little finger cots. It's going to scan the page, and then we've got to change the page. You know what I mean? Like you've got to continually, you got to keep turning the page. So it's not going to be a fast process. This is like a project you give to the intern to do, I think, right? So we will see how this fares. I'm just going to install the software here real quick, and then I will connect it. And it looks like there's a screen on the top so that we can get a view of alignment. So I'm guessing alignment will be important. Okay, so now I got to type in a serial number, which they say is at the bottom of the device. And yep, so that's a little bit cumbersome. But I've got to type in this serial number because I'm guessing this software is got some secret sauce to it, as a viewer pointed out. All right, And by the way, this came in free of charge from the manufacturer. However, they are not paying for me to do this today. And just so happened that it turned out to be on sale at the time that I started my stream today. Because I got started later because my daughter is quarantined again. She's fine. She tested negative, but I was doing math homework with her a little earlier. All right, so I got the number in incorrectly, partly because I can't see anymore. I got that one wrong too. Okay, so let's try this again. Oh, it says anything with a 1 is an I. Okay, so let's try that. Nope, didn't like that either. Okay, so that's 5I. Hang on a second, everybody. It's looking for my serial number. There we go. Okay, so we are installing the software. Oop, almost lost our side lights. And we'll see how this works. So we could start with the harder to scan book, which is this one, because this one, I actually haven't read this one yet. It's been sitting on my bookshelf. But you can see some of the challenges that you may have with a book like this, which is why they include these finger cots here. So what you do is put your fingers, apparently, in these. Something like this, and so you can kind of spread the book out. But you can see just how labor-intensive this is going to be, because we're going to have to continually, let me get this camera situated here. I'm going to get this oriented in a way that I know everything is straight. And I might slide it over just a tad here. And bear with me, everybody. I'm just going to move the mat over a little bit. So I want to get this kind of centered on the image so that you can see what I'm doing. I don't have a lot of room on this desk, which is part of the problem. Okay. Yeah, I see some skepticism out there. Yeah, it does. This, some architect said, I thought it has a page flipper. No, it doesn't have a page flipper. So I think for a long book, I mean, there's some books I think you probably would want to spend the time doing, right? But yeah, so you're going to have to do this the old-fashioned way. Although I think it would be quicker, for sure, versus like a... the light's coming on? Not yet. All right, so we can send you tutorials via email. So I'm just going to have it send me the tutorial. Apparently there's a tutorial video. All right, so we're popping in. Okay. Wow, this is like a lot of stuff to look at. So I can see why they'd want to do a tutorial. But on this channel, we never read instructions, because we like to just jump in and see what it's like for the consumer. So we're going to try to figure this out. So maybe we'll start with this book here and just kind of do this blind. Okay, so I click this button to begin scanning. All right, so looking for device. I did plug it in. If the device cannot be detected for a long time, change the USB port. If it's connected, see, this is like our usual issues here, right? Oh, there it goes. Okay, so now it's turning on. So the lights are on. And it looks like it's booting up. And I think I can adjust so this will adjust the brightness of the lights. So you can find a setting that works there. And then if I tap on the back here, I'm guessing I can turn these things on. It's like a capacitive button or something. And let's see. So we are not getting anything on the app yet. Isn't this how this always goes, right? All right, let me unplug it and plug it back in again here and see if that might make a difference. And nothing. Oh, yeah, this keeps popping in and out there. So I've got it connected. This might be a short live stream, everybody. We'll see how this goes. I could always reboot the computer if I have to. That might be one path we take here. So it does light up. Okay, so pressing the knob button to switch to, oh, I have to switch into scanner mode. Okay, so that's why. Okay, oh, there we go. There's my arm. Okay, and look, it's got an image on screen. And here, I'll show you what it sees right now. And I think I might want to use my finger cots here. So we're going to have this do a facing page. And then it wants you to align the middle here. And it's got a mode here called auto scans. Maybe we can try that. Let's see. Yeah, my computer keeps dropping in and out on its video signal. Ever since I plugged this in, it's been having some output issues, but we'll deal with that in a second. Okay, so I'm going to get my finger cots aligned here. And let's see if it can do this. I'm going to click on auto scan. I want to see if it can just do it quickly. And I think it got it. So let's turn the page. Yeah, look at that. So it grabbed 2 pages already. Let's take a look and see what it got. I'm trying to remember from when I saw this how this worked exactly, because I think it can do some processing when it's done. So let's go back. And let's see. There's batch scaling and background color processing of the selected image files. Okay, so let's try. I'll select all these images. And then let's click on standardize. Again, I'm just kind of playing with this, so there's probably a better way to do this. And we can do a searchable PDF. Let's just want to see what we get. And it doesn't look like, somebody was asking if it does EPUB. It does not appear to support an ebook output at the moment. But let's take a look and see. But you saw, though, that it could auto-scan. So as you turn the page and it detected a page, it would do something. All right, so it's going to do its OCRing now. And we'll let that do its thing. But yeah, I've got to do a little more research into how this is supposed to work. And while that's going, I will take a few of your questions. Yeah, I think this is very labor intensive, so that's why I think, you know, it's not something that I think would threaten copyright necessarily, just because you know, you may as well just buy the book. If you're going to pay somebody by the hour to scan the book, it's probably cheaper to buy it. But let's see here when it's done. Like I said, I'm probably missing something, so we haven't really looked at the instructions yet. As I have seen this do like an auto scan kind of thing, so you know, when I experienced it at the show that I was at. Yeah, so I'm looking at this PDF it made. Now it did, let me show you what I've got on screen here. So it did correctly grab the text. So for example, let's take a look. I'll grab this. It's not selecting very well here either. Let's take a look like this. This one looks like a challenging paragraph. So I'll grab that, and then I'll load up Notepad. It looks pretty good. Oh, that, yeah, not great on the OCR. And in fairness, this is a tough page. So let's go back and take another stab at this. So we'll go into back to scan again. Now, can it automatically crop? Okay, so here's the professional cropping function. This function has been upgraded. Batch cropping has been upgraded. There are two cropping rules: cut off end pixels and keep end pixels. Baseline function is set a suitable baseline first, make it suitable for all pages as much as possible, then click the arrow quickly to check each page. If the baseline is not applicable to the page. Yeah, this is something where I think you're going to probably want to spend some time doing. Yeah, you got to get everything super aligned here. All right, let's see what happens here. Yeah, we're going to have to spend some more time on this one. This is not as simple, I think, as it can be. Alan wants to know, how long did it take to scan 2 pages? Well, that's the one thing. It does seem to do a pretty quick job of scanning. So why don't we do that real quick? I'm going to, I'll turn the page here. And I got like a page with some pictures in it. Oops. And here's the other issue, right? You've got to like get your finger cuts down there. And that's where I think having the auto scan feature is the way to go. So I'm going to do, this time I'm going to say black and white. And I'm going to do facing pages. And I'm probably going to go and watch some of these tutorial videos to get a better feel for it. And I'm going to click auto scan here. And what we're going to do is move our finger cuts in the right spot. Because it's supposed to like do something where it will, all right, so see it grabbed those 2 pages? So it's done with those 2. We'll turn. Now, I selected black and white, which is why these photos are going to probably be messed up. So let me get it into another, just a regular text page here. And let's get it aligned here. I'll put my things down. So you can see, like, on a book like this, so it just did the next 2 pages, so I can turn the page. And I guess it's going to be a matter of getting, like, a good system down. And this book has been sitting on my bookshelf forever. So yeah, it's just, I don't know. Let's take a look here. So we've finished these pages. So back here. And that's because it was done in black and white. But you see here, like it picked up my hand because I hadn't yet aligned it, right? So is there like an auto crop? To just grab the, so I'd want to just have it like, that's what I mean when I was at their booth, I was doing this, like it was just grabbing the pages automatically and cropping everything properly. But it looks like we need to spend a little more time with it to figure it out. Because it looks a lot sharper in this black and white mode because it gets rid of all the other stuff. Yeah. So why don't we next take a look at, so you can, I'm sorry, I was not even showing you. So this is what it grabs. This is before when we just did like the default. And then here's what it looked like when we were doing the pages. So that looks a little better. But it still kind of looks like a copy machine. It doesn't look like I just want to get this like converted. And you can see it's not adjusting this yet either. So, and my computer, of course, is acting up. Let me go and delete these, and let's start from scratch. And I think what I'm going to do, yeah, it's set on the default. Maybe we go to their website and get some tutorials here. So let's take a look at that. And Alan said he tried an OCR pen and was not impressed. Yeah, I found it's often hard to get these things right on the first go, right? there's always some tweaking involved. But I think what we're going to do is do my high school yearbook next and see if that fares better, because that might be a little bit easier to work with. And bear with me here, folks, while I get myself recombobulated. And we'll take another look at how this works. Because what I really want to do is I want to get a real sense as to, I want to just open this book up and scan stuff is what I want to do. All right, so let's take a look at the, when in doubt, maybe we can scan the instruction manual. How's that? All right, so long press the knob, enter scanner mode. Nick, when is it? It's all troubleshooting. Yeah, they don't give you much to start with here. So I think let's go to their website and see what we can do here. Yeah, so far this doesn't appear to be kind of like an out-of-the-box kind of solution. This is going to be one, I'm thinking about like how we're going to cover this as a review. This is going to be something where we're going to have to spend some time to really get this right so that people understand how it works and what its limitations are. Now, they do have a video on their website about how to use this here, so maybe we'll take a look. And they actually just have some other YouTubers' video here. Yeah, so he's doing kind of what we did, right? So he's got, I see he's got one finger caught down on there. Now this one is not, I see he's using his foot pedal. So this one doesn't seem to project those red lines on the page when it's scanning. So it looks like he's scanning everything in first. He's got the whole get up there. And then he's going into this section here. He's kind of batching it. So what I want to do is I want to be able to have it adjust the curvature of the page, right? This almost reminds me of like scanning negatives. It's just there's like a lot of work involved with it. So now he's showing, I think, some of the curvature going on here. Yeah, it almost looks like you got to go like page by page to fix some of this stuff. You think like with this AI world that we're in, oh my goodness, that it could account for some of this stuff automatically. All right, let's take another round at it here. This time we're going to do it, we're going to use the foot pedal. So why don't we go into scan mode again. And I turn auto scan off. And I'm going to do what that guy did. I'm going to hold down this page with my finger caught. But you see, this is where we run into trouble here, is when we get it into that mode. So I'm going to hold this down here and have the finger caught right there. And I'm going to use my foot pedal. And I'll show you my, hang on, let me get the, all right, so now I'm going to use the foot pedal. So I'm going to click the foot pedal. And it just scanned. So I don't know if you heard the click, but it just scanned. And then I'm going to turn the page. Now mine doesn't appear to project those light beams on it. So I'm guessing this Aura model, which is kind of the entry model, doesn't have the laser on board. That could be what happens. And we'll get this reoriented. Now I got my hand in there. All right, so that is 4 pages. And let's go. It says video guidance. This is the video they sent us to before. All right, so let me look at this one real quick. We will demonstrate how to use Aura to scan a book. So taking us from the beginning here. So that's what we had before, right? So it took the scan. I'm going to turn the volume up here.
Like 15 pages. Evenly place the document on the black.
So it's a guy from China, so it's a little hard to understand what he's saying here.
An LED screen at the head of the scanner to make sure the document is in the working range.
So it's a guy from China.
Make sure no other objects are placed on the black work mat.
Hang on one second. Let me turn off my...
Two finger cords on your left and right index fingers. Hold the two edges of the book.
So that's what we were doing, right?
Make sure the book is properly stretched. Contents should not be covered by the finger cords. To start scanning, step on the foot pedal or click the scan icon. You can turn to next page when the three laser lines are on. You can also use auto scan. Aura applies motion detect technology, which is able to trigger scanning when you flip the pages. You can turn to next page when the three laser lines are on. The quantity of finished proceeded pictures are shown under proceed column.
All right, so this is after we scan. Let's take a look what he's saying here.
Crop and color optimization. Click back icon at the top left corner to return back to software main interface. Next, we will come to function introduction part. Color mode. You can set color mode before.
So you could change it to black and white after the fact if you wanted to.
Box select. Click and hold the left mouse button and drag to create a selection box. Selected contents can be moved or dragged.
That's kind of cool.
Pressing the delete key will clear the selected contents, leaving a white area. Control+C can copy and work.
All right.
Unselected.
But how do we fix curvature?
OCR function.
It's just that. We figured that out already. This might be supposed to be in professional cropping operations. Let's see what they have here.
At the crop and pixel
Okay.
mode.
Yeah. See, this is the problem.
The figure. 4 baselines are automatically generated at the edge of each page.
Oh.
Set the baselines by moving the yellow baseline icons, or by directly enter the pixels. The adjustment of baselines will have an effect on all pages.
So.
For example, move the left baseline to an appropriate position here. At this time, we can see on the right side of the interface, the moving pixel is 74 in width.
Yeah, so this seems like to me.
With baselines and dash line, we can do cropping flexibly. The operation method of keep and pixels is basically the same as the previous.
So what doesn't make sense to me here is how you.
The dash only affects the current page being adjusted.
So you can apply it to all pages or some pages. All right, so let's go back here and see, because now we've got a couple of things scanned. And let's go into our document mode here. So if we go through these, you can see like the left-hand pages have a little bit more of a margin than the right-hand pages do. So how do you... Yeah, I'm not sure about this. Let's see, if I go to cropping. See, this is not what it was. This is cut or clear. Yeah, it's not what I saw on the other screen. Oh, I think standardize is what we wanted to do. Okay, select the target from the list on the right. So we'll select the target from the list on the right. Yeah. I don't know, folks. I'm going to have to spend some more time on this, I think, more than I have this afternoon. Oh, this might be what we're looking for here. So if I move this, I see, this might be what we're looking for. Because it is picking up my hands here. So that's on me, but that didn't apply to the next set of pages, did it? All right, so let's see what we have now. So now it looks like I cropped everything in. That looks a little better, but it didn't do it to these images, just to these two, even though I selected all of them. So, well, we're getting there. It does feel to me, though, like there's a lot of labor intent. Like this is kind of a labor-intensive kind of thing, right? I'm just looking through. I'm missing a ton of comments. I know a lot of you are trying to be helpful, so I apologize for not seeing all of those. But let's give it another shot. Okay, so we're going to take another stab at this. We're going to start from scratch and see how this really works here. So let's get rid of all these things. But this is like reminding me of negative scanning, where it's like, oh, it sounds like such a great quick thing, and it turns into a project, and you're spending a lot of time trying to get through all this stuff. So let me try to use a book that's a little bit easier to work with, and then we'll come back to this book. So this is my high school yearbook here, and let me go through this. So here's like all my classmates and everything. Actually, it's my friend Matt's. I got to call him. Today's his birthday. So let's go to like this will be kind of a fun thing here. This is our yearbook. So I'll start on this page, and then I'll just kind of do a few pages here. So we're going to go back into scanning mode, and let's get this situated. And what I'm going to do here, now this book kind of holds itself flat better than the other one did. And I'm going to click on, here, let me pull up my screen again here. And I apologize for missing everybody's comments here. I'm going to click on Auto Enhance this time. We got facing pages. And I could also do a manual selection. But I think I kind of want to do this as automatic as I can, right? So let me get this kind of organized here. And you can see what it looks like here. And I'm going to hit the foot pedal here to do a scan. So we're going to hit a click right now. Click. And that just brought in 2 pages on the right there. So I'm going to turn the page. And this is a tricky one because it's really right on like it goes like there's no like margin on this. It's all there. So let's get this a little bit better organized here. And I think I might use my little finger guy here to hold the page down. Yeah, so you're going to struggle with this, I think, especially if I think a lot of people are going to scan older books. So this might be a struggle. But let's take these 4 pages here that we just did and see how that works. Isn't this the most 90s yearbook cover ever? This is my high school yearbook. I was at my mom's house the other day and I picked it up. I was like, oh, this would be a fun, because I knew this was coming in. I was like, this would be kind of a fun project. Because I want to have like a digital record of my yearbook. Now it looks like, so let's go out of scan mode here. And it looks like you see here we've got this reflection on the page. And I think, oops, I'm having some video issues today. I think the problem there is that we had the light on too bright and it was reflecting back, and it actually could be not even this light, it could be my studio lamps that were interfering with it. So that could be part of the problem. So yeah, you see how it's kind of blown out there? But that's due to my overhead light, I think. So that's what we have to fight with. All right, so I just selected everything again. And part of the confusion is that there's icons all over the place, so it's hard to know what does what. So if I click crop here, we can set a baseline. And it's supposed to apply the baseline. I guess what it, oh, I see, crop or keep. See, I don't know what any of this stuff means. I gotta watch that thing again. You see, it doesn't remember the thing from one page to the other. Crop n pixels, keep n pixels. So it's almost like when I drag this thing, it's not registering the number of pixels. So if I type in the number, if I type in a value here, will it remember it? Oh, I see. So if you type the value in, see how confusing this is? Because intuitively, I would want to just drag this, right? I'd want to drag this over and then have it fill the, to fill it in, but it's not doing that. So now that I set that at 10, yeah, I don't get it. Yeah, this one's going to require some more time, I think. Let me take some questions while we're trying to futz around with this thing. It doesn't feel like if I take my phone out and scan this page right now, it's going to automatically, here, let's do that. So let me turn this off for a second. And I'm just going to grab the Apple scanning thing. So let's turn this off. And we'll fold it over here. And if I just take out my iPhone and just go to my Notes app, hang on a second, everybody. Let me just go into a note. And I will show you. Hit my phone. I'm going to scan documents. Position the document in view. And I got like a pretty good. Let me give you. And again, I'm having the same trouble I'm having with the other thing, but here we go, right? It just did it, and it's done. So it might be easier with a phone. Yeah. So well, I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do some more research on this and try to figure out how this works. So we're gonna come back to the CZUR, because when I saw this at this thing I was at, it seemed like it was working better than it's working right now, and it felt more automatic to me, and it's not feeling that way now. So I want to figure out what I'm missing here. But at a minimum, from what I'm seeing on their tutorial videos, is that you're going to have to do a lot of manual labor to get these things scanned in because of these books that you're going to be scanning there. And it also doesn't appear as though there's not a lot of interest amongst the viewers here either, because we only have about 40 people watching right now. So usually these live streams do a little better. So book scanners don't appear to be something my friends on YouTube like to see here. Okay. Well, there you go. About an hour in here. So you know what I want to do real quick? We're gonna completely change our thing at the moment. So we are going to experiment with something real quick, something I've been wanting to do for a little while. So I'm going to set up something on Twitter here real quick. And I got to think about how I'm going to do this. Yes, I know how I'm going to do this. I'm going to grab my headphones. Let's see if this is going to work. All right, so for those of you who follow me on Twitter, yeah, so, and I apologize for this being kind of a bust, but I'm going to come back to this because I want to believe I am missing something on this, because it just doesn't, I don't know. I was at that show in Berlin, and I was using this thing. Maybe it was a more advanced version of it, and it was just like scanning pages. It was doing all the cropping, getting everything kind of situated. It feels like the onboarding for the user isn't quite there. All right, so now we're going to experiment with something here real quick, everybody. So I'm going to add, so if you're on Twitter, if you don't mind, follow me at twitter.com/LONSEIDMAN. All right, And the reason why you're going to follow me is because I'm going to try to do a little call-in show where you can call in and talk to me. Because I've been wanting to do this for a while, and I figured let's try it out now. So let me go over to my NDI thing real quick here. And I'm going to send this in to vMix. I'm just trying to figure out how to route this right now. So this is going to make a lot more sense in a minute. Okay, so now I'm going to grab, I'm going to take this one off. I'm going to grab my phone, and if I am correct, what should happen here is it should pass the audio through. All right, so I'm going to create what's called a Twitter space. And then I should be able to have you join the call. And let's see what happens here. So I'm going to go and create a space. It's a safe space. So we're going to call this Lon's Call-In Show. And I'm thinking about using this or something called Fireside, which does a similar thing. Okay, so I'm going to start this now, and I've got my microphone plugged in here. Okay, so I'm not going to invite anybody, and I'm going to turn my mic on. So now I am talking into Twitter, and I'm not going to hear my audio coming back out yet, but what I want people to do is if you're on Twitter right now following me, here we go, we got a bunch of people popping in. Perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to put up, who wants to go first? I'm going to have Recipe Bob here come up first. So I'm going to invite Recipe Bob to speak. And when you accept that invitation, I can bring you up to the floor. There we go. Hey, Recipe Bob, how are you? Good. Now, unfortunately, though, it is not passing audio over to my system. So my whole idea here is now shot. Can you talk a little bit more for me? It does, doesn't it? We're gonna work on this and get this figured out. Yeah, I think there's something I'm doing wrong here. So I think that's what I got to figure out. All right, hang on a second. Let me unplug this. Are you still able to hear me? Oh, I'm losing you there. All right, so let me put this back on. And I think I might have a setting that I am not correctly doing here in my NDI capture. So oh, it was muted. Okay, so let me go back over here. Oops. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stop and start this. And let's see if this makes a difference here. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so now we're broadcasting again. And let's go back to the Twitter thing. Okay, so let me, oh, I think I see Brian Parker in there too. I'm going to invite Brian Parker up to speak as well. And you all watching on YouTube probably can't hear anything, but we're trying to troubleshoot this out. So Recipe Bob, can you say hello again? Yeah, I'm not getting anything here. Oh, I just lost, there's Brian Parker. You're in. So yeah, so this does not appear to be, right, you can hear him, right? Okay, so now my mic is back, but what's not happening here, all right, hang on a second, let me do this and do this. Okay, so what I'm trying to figure out here is how to get audio out of my iPhone over to my vMix system, and it does not appear to, it doesn't appear as though this thing works the way I thought it was working, so that's part of the problem. Yeah, so we were, and for those of you just tuning in, we were testing out, and this is going to require a lot more research on my part, and I don't want to bore you all with me watching tutorial videos, but we were trying to get this book scanner called the CZUR to capture, and unfortunately it was not doing so. So, well, it was, but it wasn't cropping as automatically as I would have hoped it could. So I'm going to have to come back to this and spend some time researching how it works. So that's what we're going to come back to here. And my hope was, because I had everybody here, hey, can you talk again, somebody? Anybody?
Hello. Still talking? Hello.
Yeah, so it's not coming through. So my hope was that I could figure out, while I've got people watching for something else, we could try to get the call-in thing working with Twitter, but that's not working either. So it's a total bust today. It's all a bust. I'm done.
That does it.
I'm packing it up.
Now going to start selling insurance.
I'm going to start selling insurance. Be able to quit at 5, you know. So that's it. Yeah, and everyone on YouTube can hear me. No, I know you can hear me. So what we're trying to do here is I've been meaning. So here's the thing: is like whenever I do one of these live streams, I like to get chats in. Right? I put your little chats up here. So if you're watching on Twitter, you can hear everybody talking right now, and I can pull your chats up on screen. But you know, it's always like this dead air thing where I am just like reading what's coming through my screen, and then I click on this thing and it pops up on screen. So what I was looking at was piping in. I got one other idea. Piping in my iPhone using Twitter Spaces, because I can control the callers, because there is a vMix has a call-in function, but you can't have like multiple people like in queue. So it's been difficult. So what I'm going to try here now, let me do this real quick. I'm going to try to plug my iPhone in via HDMI. This is going to get really bad in a few minutes, everybody, just so you know, because it's going to be a total you-know-what show. All right, so I'm going to turn.
I'd like to look in that little cabinet he has back there, all those cables.
It is a bunch of junk in the cabinet behind me. And let's see here. I got a request here. Matt Green wants to come on the call. Okay, so here we go. Matt Green can speak now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this out. I thank you, everybody, for bearing with me here as we try to figure all this stuff out. I'm going to add a NDI input here, and I'm going to pull in this thing. And if I'm not mistaken, I should get audio through this, although I am not sure. Let's see. And hopefully I don't crash my system here in the process. All right, so I'm plugging this in. And now I've got a blank screen. Oh, there we go. Okay, now can somebody talk for me real quick?
I can talk for you really quick.
All right, so
Tell you all sorts of wonderful things.
you can. And you know what? I wonder if I have to do. Yeah, I'm gonna keep playing around with this. Oh, mic mode. Let's see, mic mode, standard voice isolation, wide spectrum. If I click on the speaker thing, what happens here? Yeah, it doesn't seem to. I can make it louder, but I'm not seeing any audio pass through here.
Your yearbook does look very 90s, by the way.
Yeah, this is the ultimate 90s yearbook. So there you go. Yeah, so what we're not getting. What's that?
I said my wife's the same age, and that's what her yearbook looks like.
Yeah, and you know what? This is the Jostens yearbook, so like everybody had this yearbook. so there was like 12 covers to pick from, and that's who they picked out. So yeah, we'll get this figured out. All right. Well, it looks as though I've got a lot of stuff that I've got to figure out how to do here. So just to keep my sanity here, I want to thank all of you who popped into the Twitter thing. We're not done with this Twitter thing yet. I'm going to figure out somehow, some way to get the audio from my phone to output over HDMI, because I'm almost certain it can do this. And it could just be that there's an order of operations to this that I'm missing. Because right now it's still sending audio through the speaker and not out the HDMI. So I will have to continue to mess around with this a little bit more. Yeah, today's been kind of a bust. I've been like having one failed project after the other. Drag out the audio mixer. Okay, so let's see what. So I can click on it and I can adjust the volume, but I can't route the audio on the iPhone to something else. So I can stop mirroring here. Let me start it again. Let's try this one more time. Because my thought was I could send the audio over NDI out of the phone. Because I've seen this NDI thing send audio. But perhaps because it's a phone call? Actually, oh, you know what? I wonder. Hang on a second. Caption sound. Okay. I wonder if it's an app-based thing where I have to be routing the audio. Let's take a look here.
Why not do this through Discord?
I was thinking about doing it through Discord. Do I have to pay for that? Because you know I'm a cheapskate. We might end up doing Discord. I was thinking Twitter just because like everyone's got Twitter, and then they wouldn't have to join another thing, right? But I guess I could just have. I'll figure it out. I'm going to come back to this, so I'm not wasting everybody's time here. But yeah, so I've got some tutorial watching to do on the CZUR. It seems to work in the sense that it scans, but I'm having trouble with the automation on it. That's what I've got to research, because what I really want to be able to demo is like just going through this book, you know, getting it as flat as possible and then having it adjust, because it looks as though that's how it's supposed to work. And I seem to remember it working that way when I did it. So we'll have to see how that goes. So you want to see a superlative that I got in high school? This was my superlative. I was the most likely to succeed, and here I am in my basement with a YouTube channel. So you can take your guess on that one. So in any event, that's that. So let me hey Twitter people, thank you very much for testing this. I'm going to try this again in the near future. So you all can come back and try it again. I'm going to end the space here, but they're going to keep the stream going for another minute or two. So thank you all. All right. Yeah, so we're going to come back and figure out this whole thing. We got to figure this thing out and the other thing. And Sim Architect, sorry about that. So this is part of the problem too, is I'm trying to get everything kind of coordinated here. So, but we will figure it out. Screen mirroring for the audio. Yeah, so I'm trying to think how that might work. So let me start. I'm actually going to just try this NDI thing again. I wonder if this is a Twitter setting. So if I go to NDI HX capture, and I'll click to begin capturing. Yeah, but I had one of these days today. I could not get anything going. The good news is that I did get something done yesterday. So there will be a video on the channel tonight. We had one yesterday, but part of the challenge I've been dealing with on the channel is that my daughter has been quarantined the last week, and so it's been at-home schooling stuff going on. So that was kind of the challenge this week. So I was getting interrupted. My wife was getting interrupted, so it was hard to make things work here. Okay, so now the audio is working. So I'm seeing audio pass through. So you know what I'm going to try one more time here. I think there's an order of operations where if the audio is already going, so we're going to try this again here. So I'm going to create a space. This is going to be real quick, everybody, because I got to go and order food now for the house. So we're going to start here. I'm going to skip this. So if you don't mind, I'm going to start the thing again. And I don't know if Mr. Parker or somebody or Respi who wants to pop back into the space, if you can pop back in. And let's see what happens this time with it. So Matt Green says, what about using a computer? So no, it doesn't work on the web. So that's part of the issue. All right, I'm going to invite Matt Green here to speak. So there might just be an order of operations to this. Let's see, because I just got some YouTube audio to play through. Or it could just be something app specific. So that could be part of it. So David was wondering, was this my dad's? Here's Recipe Bob is back here too, so we'll get him back on too. All right.
Hi, Lon.
Hi, Matt. How are you? Thanks for
Good.
thanks for calling in to the Lon.TV call-in show, which is a you-know-what show more than anything else. Okay, somebody talk for me real quick.
Hello.
Somebody talking.
Yeah.
Everyone's always talking.
Okay, so it appears as though my grand plan here was not successful. So I've got one last thing I can try, which is that somewhere I have a headphone adapter. And that might be the way I get this to work. Or I get like a Bluetooth audio receiver, which I have. Hang on a second, I got an idea. Yeah, I'm gonna come back to this. We'll figure this out. So it looks as though the way this iPhone outputs audio is that if it's on what it thinks is a call, probably because you can't you can't record phone calls without people's permission. I wonder if there's some kind of thing in the iPhone that limits sending call audio out, and it's probably treating this like a voice over IP call. So I think that's my problem.
Lon, can I make a suggestion?
Yes, please.
So I'm on my Android phone right now with headphones plugged in, and the audio is coming through just fine.
Ah,
So
maybe
try an Android
I
phone.
should try an Android phone, and I have one somewhere in this mess.
I bet you got more than one.
I have several. Here, let's pull this one out of the tech pile down here and try this out real quick, and then.
What's the over-under on not having an Android?
It's not a matter of whether or not I have an Android phone, it's how many Android phones do we have accessible at this moment. And
Are they charged?
yes, this one's charged, as a matter of fact. I have yet to review this one. Part of my trouble lately is the fact that my with the kids and everything's just out of everything's been crazy this month, just trying to get time to do my basic work. So I got started a lot later than I wanted to today. But yeah, so we're going to come back to this at a later date because I need to learn how its automation works. So what I need to do now is just install Twitter on this thing real quick. And the other problem is there is not an NDI output on this phone, nor is there a headphone jack. So yeah, I got to come back to this. But I do think Android is going to be the solution here. So that is how I'm going to figure it out. And I think what I may end up doing is just passing Bluetooth audio, because then I can keep the phone charged while it's going. So, or I might try Fireside and see how that works. So, all right, let me disconnect this. Thank you, everybody, once again. Appreciate your willingness to help. And let me end the thing here. It doesn't let me end it either. End the space. Yes, there we go. Okay. Okay, there we go. All right, so we have some more work to do on the CZUR before we review it. And I may actually get in touch with them and see if they have some advice, because what I recall about this is that it was scanning much quicker when we did it. So let's take another round and see if we can do this one more time, because we did get a bunch of people popping into the Amazon chat now, so I feel motivated to do another demo here. So let's plug in my HDMI here again, and we're going to get the scanning app open. So, and here's a good question from one of the YouTube viewers here, Codeman, who cannot figure out if it's user-friendly for the average consumer. And I think that is a very good observation. That's what I'm trying to discern myself. So what we've got now is we have it on. I'm going to go grab the app here again and boot it up once more. And this is called the CZUR Aura. And I'm going to miss the chat room for a few minutes here as we go through all this. So this is the software. And if we look above it here, I'm going to turn it. Is it on? Let's see. There we go. So it's got two different modes. It has like a light mode. So it actually works like a light. And then you've got it in scan mode. So I can adjust the levels here. Now you can see it's kind of reflecting here, and that's going to come off on the scan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off my overhead lights here. And that should cut down the reflection. I might have to kill my other lights as well. So that's looking a little better. So now we have it kind of situated here. Let me get to a spot without phone numbers on it. Granted, this is from 1994. This is my 94 yearbook. So now there's a couple different ways we can operate this. Now I have a foot scanner here, so I can actually just hit the foot scanner to scan pages as we go. And so you can also, though, do an automatic mode. So we're going to go to auto scan here. And what I have to do is get it aligned. And I was not at this winter semi-formal. And then it should start scanning. Now what I can do here is I can grab these little finger cots here. And what these do is kind of separate the pages. And what it'll do is once it detects a page turn, it's going to scan. The problem I'm running into, oh, now it's doing the, look at that. So before it wasn't doing that little laser thing. The problem is right now it's like it's going nuts with this auto scan. So what I might do is start this over again, and I'm going to use the foot pedal instead, because I think the foot pedal is a little more predictable in its operation, and it's relatively quick. The auto scan I think might work when you're really trying to crank stuff out. So let me delete these real quick, and let's go back in and scan. But this time we're going to use the foot pedal. So I'm going to grab the edges here. And my understanding is it will exclude the finger cots here as we go. So I'm going to hit you see that? So it did project that laser light on there. And now we've got 2 pages scanned. I'm going to turn the page. And it's on auto enhance right now, but I could just say grayscale because this is kind of a grayscale thing. And we're going to get right to the edge here because these are really on the edge. And now we've got a grayscale image there. So let's go back and see how this looks. So these are the 2 grayscale images. And it's a little washed out still. Actually, it's a lot washed out. And these images were washed out to begin with. So if you look at this page here, you can see that that's pretty washed out, but it's more washed out on screen there. And this is where you might want to adjust the light intensity of this to kind of get it perfect. All right, so now that we've made a little progress here, let me take out this other book, because this is where we were struggling before, was on something like this. I'm going to turn the light up a little bit more here. And let's go back into scan here. Because you get into this scenario where you've got to get this book to the second view here. Because you see how it's kind of curving over on itself? So you really have to get it kind of situated like that. All right, so let's go back to scan. And I'm missing a whole bunch of chats because I'm using the computer that I typically monitor the chat with here. And we'll figure it out. Joe Tyson, yes, I think I did see you in the Twitter thing. I did not, I didn't promote everybody to speak just because I was having audio trouble. So we're going to come back and revisit that soon as well. Oops, hit the button there. So now I've got the foot pedal on the floor. And what we're going to do now is we're going to switch over to the computer screen. And we're going to go back into scan mode. And I think what I'm going to do here is probably go black and white because we're just looking at text. And let's get this thing like dialed in here. And so you've got to get it kind of a line down the middle here. But you can see kind of like there's a good amount of work involved, I think, in getting it aligned, getting it even. All right, let's try it now. So we hit the foot pedal. Now granted, I am using this for the first time today, so we have some learning to do still. And you can see it brought those pages in. Although it appears to be working a little better than it did earlier. So I don't know if maybe just kind of cycling the unit is helping here. I don't even know if I'm using these finger cots correctly, but we'll see. Get it kind of aligned to where it needs to be. And so what you want to do is get it right down the middle here. But it's going to be a very labor-intensive activity here, as you can see, to get all these pages in, especially when the book wants to collapse back in on itself. So now we've got 4 pages scanned. And what's interesting is that it still picked up that thing on the right there. So there is apparently a way in which we can standardize. So let's pick all these on the right. And see, this is where I'm running into trouble because I want to standardize how this looks, but I'm not getting any kind of preview here. And then we can crop this, so we can set the baseline. So that looks a little better. So I got rid of some of the stuff on the right. But what does it do to the next page? So, but see, it doesn't do it on that one. See, this is, I got to really do a little bit more on the tutorial stuff here. Yeah, so it takes, it's going to take some labor, I think, to get this working here. But as you can see here, though, because we're in that facing pages mode, we can have it standardized this way. So this might be how we do it. So we can select all the pages, or we can select all of the left-hand pages, for example, and then we could crop it and standardize that, perhaps. So this would affect 2 pages. So I think when I do this, this might be what you do. You can see that's nice and clean on the left, and if I go to the right here, oh, I didn't do that one either. Let's try this, see what happens. Yeah, still not doing it. So yeah, I do have some exploration to do with this to really try to figure out how this is supposed to scan. Because the big question in my mind is this better or faster than a phone would be? So that's the big question. As far as software is concerned, there is software for only Mac and Windows. There is no Linux version available. And it is definitely not a take out of the box and run with it kind of thing. It does have a lot of batch controls, but like I said, I'm having trouble kind of figuring out the basics here, because even things that are it should be intuitive. Okay, so this might be what we're looking for. Let's see if this might have been the screen I was looking for. And assuming that you're keeping everything aligned in the same way, so let's see if this does it for all of our pages here, because we have essentially 2 scans here. Okay, so we did that. Yeah, but see, it doesn't apply it to the other 2 pages, right? So I'm instructing it to do a batch on everything. I almost feel like you have to type the number in here. Maybe that's what they want you to do. Yeah, it just doesn't, it just is, there's a real lack of intuitiveness. And that's what I'm struggling with. And granted, I just took this out of the box. They do have video guidelines for this. But typically, I would expect to see some result occurring here. But you can go like rapid fire on this too. So if we drop it into, if we get it situated here with auto scan, and I was watching one video earlier where the guy was using his finger caught thing here on the left and then just turning the page as he went. And it can just kind of rapid fire scan the pages in here. So if we go to auto scan, we'll wait for it to scan. So you'll see it pick it up. So you got it, turn the page. It'll do the next one. But I think, again, like these are the kinds of challenges you're going to run into, is just the labor involved in getting everything cropped properly as you go. And if I leave it here too long, it'll start scanning the same page again. See it? Just did it again. So it doesn't know that you changed, that you didn't turn the page, right? So those are some of the issues that I've been dealing with here. And it will do finger removal, although, as you saw, it wasn't doing it very well. So let's go over here and back to the scan page here and see what we have. So these are some of the new images that came in. It does scan very cleanly, but there's no consistency to the scans as they come in. So that's kind of how it rolls. So yeah, I've been, it's something I think you're going to struggle with. I've seen this work in person, which is why I'm struggling here to. I'm not just tossing it out. But I was at a show where I used it, and it just seemed like it was a lot smarter about getting the pages properly oriented. It was actually adjusting for the curvature on the page, but it's. I've been struggling trying to figure this thing out. So I'm gonna have to spend a lot of time on the tutorial videos, and I think part of my issues with this is that there's an assumption on the part of consumers these days that when you buy something like this, it's more plug and play now with all this AI. You can take your phone out and scan a page and be done with it. It feels to me as though this needs a little more smarts to it before I could say, hey, it's a great thing. So yeah, I'm going to spend a little time tonight on the tutorials and try to figure out exactly how this is supposed to work. All right. Matt Green's wondering, can it scan photos? Yes, it can scan photos. I don't have a photo handy, do I? And Terry says it is time intensive unless it's somebody else's job. Yeah, I was joking earlier. It's kind of like the job for the intern, right? So let me take a few more questions here. So yeah, and I think for Grayson too, who does read a lot of ebooks for a visual impairment, there's some benefit here because this does support OCR. So as you're scanning pages, it will do optical character recognition, and you could drop it into another format. You can even export it, as you'll see in the software here. It'll export to Word, and you can obviously make the font bigger. But I'm struggling just to get the thing to work right. So let's see here. So let's try it one more time. Because if you got a big old fat book like this, it's going to be a little difficult. But they do have some video guides, which I was looking at. So let's take a look at it again and see if we're missing something here. So let's go to video guide. And so we did all this. We got the lamp mode set up. And the flat single page method is obviously, that's a no-brainer. But it looks as though a lot of this is going to be post-processing. So let's take a look here.
How to use Aura to scan a book.
I'm just going to pull up the software here.
The scan interface, where real-time scan results can be previewed. Based on your needs, select color mode. If you try to
Right, so he's got his
material or output searchable PDF format, we recommend to use black and white mode.
That's what we were doing, it's the black and white mode.
Viewing from software on LED screen
Yes,
at the head of the scanner to make sure the document is in the working range. Objects are placed on the black work mat. Hold the two edges of the book with the finger quotes. Make sure the book is properly stretched. Contents should not be covered by the finger quotes.
So here he goes.
Step on the foot pedal or click the scan icon. You can turn to next page when the three laser lines are off. You can also use auto scan. Aura applies motion detect technology.
Yeah, so it looks like it's not doing anything at the time of scan to orient the page. But he does have some curvature there in the demo, right?
The quantity of finished proceeded pictures are shown under proceed column on the left top corner of the screen. Double-click the thumbnails. Proceeded pictures will be shown under scan preview interface.
Right, so that's something we saw before.
After all documents are proceeded, click back to return back to home page.
All right, so let's take a look at his overlapping edge cropping, which is what we were trying to figure out earlier. And I'll skip ahead here a little bit. So that's kind of what we were dealing with, right?
To cope with overlapping edge problems in book scanning, we added a new function for the CZUR scanner software.
Overlapping edge cropping.
Video is about anyway for batch processing. This function is only applicable to the pictures scanned by CZUR.
Right, so the facing pages method, which we were doing.
If you want to import the previously scanned books, you have to import the left and the right pages at the same time. As shown in the figure, when crop overlapping edge
Right.
by page width is selected,
So we did that.
there will be a baseline on both the left side of the left page and the right side of the right page. After moving the baseline icon,
Right, we did
left
that.
and the right page width
See, you know what's happening is that when we're doing this, it's not setting the pixels on it. That's the problem. So let's try this again. Let's go back over. I'm going to do this one more time, then I got to run here because I got to pick up dinner for everybody. So if I position this properly here, now we've got the foot pedal in place right now. So we're going to get this as best as I can organized here. So I'm going to do the scan this way. And I'm finding when you got like a book like this, you got to do every page like this, right? So it's a lot of page turning. All right, so I got it stretched out here. I got my foot pedal. I'm going to hit the foot. Oop, I got to get it aligned again. So then it creeps out of the center zone when you're messing around with things here. So let's get that situated. Okay, so the laser scan happened, and now we've got 2 pages scanned. Let me turn the page again, and we'll get that aligned here. And we'll get this kind of situated here. But, in looking at this, I'm like, I don't know how easy this is going to be to do a whole book, right? So we've got the page scanned. We can go to the next page. We'll do like this. This will be our last page before we go back to processing, and then I'll hit it again. All right. So we just did 2, 4, 6 pages, right? And I'll go back to here, and you can see what we got. So it scans pretty cleanly. If I give you a 1-to-1 on it, it is nice. Oops, it's nice and clean. So that is a good thing. Oops, let's get it back to a fit height. Okay, so. And now what I want to do is, we'll select all here, we'll go to overlapping edge. Now, when this guy was doing stuff, as he moved this, it was setting a pixel value here, which it is currently not doing. And I think this is, oh, I see. Ah, okay, so this is what I'm talking about with the counterintuitiveness here. This baseline adjustment will affect all pages. Okay, so we'll confirm that. So you move this over, and it doesn't do anything until you move this little, you see what I mean? It's just like my assumption here is that when I move this over, Like why do I have to do this as well, right? And then in the middle here, so if I click on the next, see, okay, so now it's kind of applying it across the board. So that seems to work a little better. Now we can also crop the hinge line, which would be in the center here. And I can also move this line here, and then, yeah, see, I feel like you shouldn't have to move two different things to get the same result, right? But I think now if I hit confirm, this should apply to all of the images, yeah. Okay, so that works a little better. So that's not bad. That's not bad. So now, let's say I want to do an OCR on all this stuff and drop it into a Word document. Let's give that a shot. Actually, let's just do straight up text. And I'm just going to throw this on my, my downloads folder. And now it's doing the OCR. And it's going to go page by page. Now, if you had a lot of pages, this would take a while, right? So it's a, but I think I'm figuring this out. I'm getting there. It's taken me an hour and a half to kind of get to that point. And I think that's my knock against it, is that it needs to be more intuitive, right? It needs to have, I think there's an expectation that when you're doing this kind of scanning work these days, especially with all these smartphone apps, it's got to be better than a smartphone, and it's got to be faster than a smartphone, right? And I'm not sure we're quite there, but we'll play around with it a little bit more. All right, so here's the text that it got. It looks pretty accurate to me. I'm not seeing any issues here, although it is picking up the page numbers at the bottom. So the OCR looks pretty good, and that would be expected because it is scanning very cleanly. So yeah. I think it's not bad. But like I said, it takes a while to go through these pages and get everything situated. And then the mat here that they give you is like, it's all rolled up, so it's going to take you a while to get it to get it situated. And I'm thinking, I'm finding a lot of things to complain about, but the other thing I'm noticing is that the bottom of this is felt, so it slides around a lot. So that's kind of knocks you out of alignment also. So you probably want to weight it down, which you probably need to do to flatten it out, but it slides constantly. So when you're trying to get the book situated, you might have it solidly locked in here, but it's moving, it's moving on the desk because it's so slippery. So what they should have done was put like a mouse pad material at the bottom, which would grip the desk better. Because if you're on like a wood surface like I am, that seems to be causing some issues there. So now, let's see what happens as I scan additional images in. I don't think this will adjust for what we set on the other pages without having to reprocess them. So, but yeah, it looks like they've got these little tools here to help you. And what it will do is it will exclude these guys if you position it correctly. But you can see like just how much time this takes. And then like I was off on that one, so I want to redo that. So I can go in here, go back to my image of the screen. So I can go here and just delete these two. And then I got to run in a second here, folks. Well, I can't delete them while they're scanning, can I? Let's see, can I delete? No. What's this do? Yeah, it's just pulling up that. Yeah. So you have to go in and manually delete those. Like it looks like after you scan it. So let's get this situated here. But yeah, you're going to really struggle. This is like a very time-consuming. I would say it's probably about as time-consuming as loading it in a copy machine. The difference is that you're ingesting. Now, how I'm initiating the scan is through the foot pedal that it comes with. There's another scan there. And we'll do one more set of pages here. we'll get this kind of situated. And again, you got to constantly look on screen and make sure you are aligned properly. You got to get it right down the middle, because if you set that batch thing to do it, it's going to look in that area. So it's not all that smart in how it approaches things. Okay, so let's go back out. And what the heck happened here? All right, 1 second. There it is. Okay, so I don't know what happened with these two. That was that one that I rejected, it looks like, so it didn't do any processing on it either. So let's get rid of this one. That one's good. So we're going to get rid of these two here. This one and this one. Yeah, those two are the ones I don't like, so we're going to delete those. This is the kind of file management that you have to do. Yeah, so you can see here that these ones that we did earlier are kind of perfectly cropped, but these are not. So now we got to go back in and process those. Now, granted, you would probably be going through this book after you finish scanning everything. But it's not as fast as I thought it would be as far as like the page turning and whatnot. All right, so let's go back over to the overlapping edge. And it did not retain what we had before. So we have to do this again. Jeez. This is just not intuitive. You just kind of move this over and do that over. And then we'll do the crop hinge line again. And these don't snap to each other either, so these little orange things have to get moved after you move this thing. It's all just very confusing. All right, so I'm going to hit confirm here again. Yeah, and you can see there's some curvature to the words here, but yeah, yep, see there you go. We were just a little bit off on that one, right? So yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to spend a little bit more time with this, but it's just a lot of work. So again, I liken this to kind of some of the negative scanners that I've reviewed. Like they look good as a concept, but the work involved is a lot. And then when you're done with it, you can just hit this to switch it off, and then it folds up like that. So this is the whole unit. And they have some side lights here as well. So if you have like a larger book, these are kind of like little headlights that you can illuminate to get a little bit more light on the scenario. And that actually positions itself. Let's back up like this. So this actually attaches to that, and then you get some more lighting on your. Although I haven't yet figured out how to turn these lights on yet. I'm guessing there's a control somewhere to do that. So there you go. But it could also double as a lamp. If you wanted to use it as a lamp, you can do that. So there you go. So that is the CZUR. And I missed a whole bunch of chats again because I was using this computer. But it is, the software design is not great. And I think it could be better. The hardware is good. I think the image quality that I'm seeing is a very clean scan. But yeah, so there you go. All right, well, I'm going to do a little bit more research on this just to make sure I'm not completely off base on my initial assessment of it, but it looks as though it scans cleanly, but you got to get it all in the right spot, and if anything moves and you've got that automatic crop applied, you'll lose that. So there you go. The scanner was just on sale at Amazon. It looks like it is 100% claimed now, but it's $289. So a little more than like your flatbed scanner might be. And yeah, so we'll figure it out from there. But yeah, thanks everybody for bearing with me here. I was messing around with a whole bunch of different things at once, and I saw a bunch of Amazon viewers came in while I was futzing around with another project. So thank you for sticking around as we were looking at the CZUR here. And yeah, we're going to come back and try to do some more with this. I've got to, like I said, I got to research, look at some of the tutorial videos and see if I'm missing anything. Because my impression was this was like an AI-driven thing where you put the page in front of it and it just scans it as you go. Like I want to do this, and it's not quite to that level like those high-speed book scanners can do. So there you go. All right. Yeah, actually, Matt Green, that power button, it feels like it's capacitive, but it doesn't seem to work. So here, let me fold it back out again. Here's another thing. So let's turn it back on again and see if we can get those lights to turn on. So there is like a power button here, but it doesn't actually turn the light on. It's got some pretty bright lights there. So I'm holding it down here, but it's not. Like it's capacitive, but it doesn't seem to come on. So I got to read up on that too. And George says there's probably a way to set the crop on the scan. You're probably right about that. Let's see. Oh yeah, so you could do a manual selection. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Okay, so it does work when you put it in that mode. So here, I'll leave you a look at this. So so you just tap that capacitive button and it will give you a little bit more illumination. But you know what it does? Oh, this is interesting. So it's one or the other. So when you tap this, these come on, and when you tap it again, that one comes on underneath. So it's got a big old light that kind of shines straight down. So maybe if you have something glossy, the side light might do better. Yes, see that? That's neat. So it's a little less glossy there with the side light. All right, so let's try this real quick before we have to go. So you can do a cropping parameter here, but it's all based on, you have to know your pixels. See that? So that's like, it's tricky. Yeah, because I'd love for there to be a setting for that. Now I could do a manual selection. So I could do a box with the scanning area. Here, let me pull up my screen again here so you can see what I'm doing. But I don't know if this will do a facing pages if I do this box thing here. So here, let me get these. Yeah, see, it just has a 1 next to it, so I have a feeling it's not a facing pages scenario. I think it's going to give us like one big image. So we should, yeah, we're getting one page out of that. So can I assign a second page to this maybe? Let's see. Yeah, so I think facing pages is probably put the book in the middle of the document pad, which we did. Yeah, I'm going to do some more research on this. But yeah, it just feels like it works for sure, but it just feels like there's a lot of manual labor involved in making it work. So it could be made smarter, I think. So, all right. Well, everybody, first of all, I want to apologize to the YouTube audience because I was using the same computer for monitoring the chat as I was running this thing. Jeff says I'm getting creepier than I think whatever it is, like they know that you're looking for a book scanner, and it's like, hey, Lon's doing one right now, and Jeff is in the market, so here you go. Yeah, good stuff. So yeah, I want to apologize to the YouTube audience. I didn't get to everyone's questions today just because I was missing all of these chats as they were streaming through. So sorry about that, everybody. But Matt Green, thank you for the input on that. Yeah, so we'll come back to this. I'm just not all that enthused as to what I have seen so far. So I will be returning with another stream before you know it. I've got a fun project coming up. And yeah, so here's another one from George. Like it's hard to, yeah, exactly. Setting the numbers is bad. It's hard to know that. And yeah, I think normally I would have another computer here. Long story, but I was hoping I could have started this about 2 hours earlier, and what happened was I had to watch my daughter for a little while, and one thing led to the other, and I was like, oh, let me just get down and do it. Let's do it live. And yeah, we're going to get the call-in thing working. That's my next experiment. So we will have all sorts of fun projects coming up. Now, if you're watching me on Amazon, give me a follow because I do this all the time. I get things in. So, and I'm not disparaging what other people do on Amazon, but what I do on Amazon and on YouTube is that when I get something in like this, I take it out of the box and I set it up, and whatever happens, happens. And that's what's great about it, because you can actually see what this kind of product will do. It'll give you a better idea of it out of the box. And I know a lot of people kind of want to know that experience. So rather than just talk about this stuff, I like to take it out for a spin. And so I got a pile of things that just come in all the time that I look at reviewing for my YouTube channel. And sometimes we'll do the live stream and determine that it's not something that I'm going to review because I have trouble getting it to work. So, you know, that's what's so fun about these live streams. And then all of the viewers come in with some really good comments about stuff. So give a follow, because if you're into technology products, I'm your guy, because this stuff is always showing up here, and we have to figure out how it all works. So I want to thank Eugene, Syracuse, New York, Addie, DFK, Simona, and Amazon customer all gave me a follow. And there's 568 other people watching on Amazon right now too. So give a follow, and I will be back with more tech goodness before you know it. And Eric's Variety Channel knows what happens. Yes, he's here for all of them. Sorry I didn't see you earlier, Eric. But Eric rarely misses one of these things. And I got to meet him at Retro World Expo a few days ago. All right, and George says it's often entertaining. Yes. My failures at technology are often very entertaining. And so far, we haven't had anything explode on us. Not recently. The Apple IIgs back there did, so I shouldn't say that nothing has exploded on us. But all right. I will talk to you all soon. Oh, Matt Green. Yes, I had somebody working on a website. Long story on that one. So I got to reach out to them and see where things are at with it. I do want to get a more of a web presence. So at some point. Right now, I'm like a multi-platform creator. That's my new job title. I'm a multi-platform content creator. So Barry Gear just joined. We're wrapping up, Barry. Sorry to give you the bad news, but we were playing around with the CZUR book scanner. My lights are off because we were using this to scan stuff. And what this does is it lets you scan books. And it's well built. I'll give them credit on that, but we were having some issues getting it to work efficiently. So I'm going to have to do some more with it before I come back to it. All right. Oh, Matt, thank you for the offer, Matt. You know what, Matt? Why don't you send me an email and we can work out something. I don't want people to do anything for free. But it might be fun to just, because I would love to just get a template that I could work with and kind of go from there. Okay, that's going to do it. I will talk to you all on the next one, and leave a comment if you're on YouTube as to what you thought of this. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Okay, I will talk to you all soon. Thanks for watching.